I'm Charlie Bright of Gold Derby, and today I'm speaking with Pharrell Williams, the subject and producer of the documentary Piece by Piece. Wonderful documentary. First question I have to ask you is the conversation that we see at the beginning between you and Morgan. Was that the actual conversation that you two had where you first brought up the idea of doing this whole documentary in Lego?
Yes, sir. The funny thing about all of this is that we really worked really hard to be authentic about what we were doing and what we put in the film. Um, to be as clear and concise and honest and intentional about the things that we talked about, and then we put it right in. Like we didn't really, nothing was really like fabricated. It was more just like, you know, really taking the audio of the things that we actually discussed in real time and just animating to it. And that was always the impetus of this because for me, I didn't want to do a regular documentary. Like I wasn't interested in that. And I can go into it as to why I didn't want to do a regular documentary, but I wanted to do a documentary that, you know, that was authentic, but at the same time, I wanted it to be universal. So we use Lego as a um we use Lego as a I would say as a platform and essentially a translator that could like make it interesting and palatable to lots of people, different demographics in terms of ages and in terms of like, social pockets of like, different communities. We just wanted it to work with human beings. And so, when I was given the opportunity to work on a documentary, you got to understand, I didn't want to do it because for me, I wasn't interested in my life. I only work on things that I'm interested in and that I'm enthusiastic about. And listen, I'm enthusiastic about my life, but I'm not enthusiastic about like listening to myself. Listening to myself is just like how you would feel about listening to yourself. It's like listening to yourself on a voicemail. That's like torture. So imagine an hour and change of that. The answer would be no, right? But when my, when my, you know, really persistent agent was like, you really have to do a documentary. You should. You can do it any way you want. I was like, okay, well, then that means then we're going to use Morgan Neville as a documentarian because I love what he does. If you think about what he did with 20 Feet from Stardom or Won't You Be My Neighbor with Mr. Rogers, it was like, oh, this is one of the greatest storytellers ever in the documentary space. And then there was the idea that I wanted it to have a couple degrees of separation from me so that I could appreciate it. And that was Lego. And the reason why I chose Lego is because, when I was a kid, my fondest memories of like toys at my earliest age was Lego sets. That's what my parents got me, and then with my children, I have four children. We have a 16-year-old and we have three 7-year olds that are about to turn 8. We get them Lego sets, for so many reasons. And so it's like such a generational connection. And I thought, man, if I want all walks of life and not just all different like races, but just different demographics to be able to relate to it. Lego is that universal platform that everyone understands, whether you're 8 or 80 years old. And I really wanted it to be a thing where like I take my story, I sacrifice my story and my discomfort of like the eek and cringe that you feel when you hear yourself over a voicemail. I mean, imagine hearing your voicemail over a Walmart loudspeaker. You'd just be like ill, right? You'd cringe the entire time. But I'd be willing to deal with that if I could take my story and inspire others to realize that it's never too late to start your dream. Start working at your dream and building at your dream piece by piece.
Another thing I'm curious about with this is so I mean I understand completely coming from about the Lego thing, I actually think it works so well, and it actually makes it more. It makes it work so much more well on an emotional level. What was your reaction when you finally saw the fully animated product for the first time?
I was super excited and super grateful. For me, I just I wanted to just connect with people as much as I could. Um, I didn't want to just do like, some I love documentaries. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I just didn't want to do a documentary that was like, you know, just like vain. And because I feel like if I would have done a documentary like based on what I wanted to do, I think that it would have look, egotistically, you try to keep your ego out of things, right? At least I do. And I think either way, regardless of it, I would have wanted to like just it would just been like this Frankenstein of all of my achievements. And to me, that's not a story. That's a vitrine of like accomplishments. And that's what I was trying to avoid. And so by putting it in the hands of, like in the lap of like a Morgan Neville, he's going to put in what he feels like is appropriate. So I said to myself, just based off of what he did with Fred Rogers documentary and what he did with Won't You Be My Neighbor, what he did with Won't You Be My Neighbor with Fred Rogers and what he did with 20 Feet from Stardom, I just thought to myself, let me let this guy drive. And not only give him autonomy to my story, to tell it the way that he thought would be the most cohesive, but also give him autonomy to my catalog as well, my music catalog. And that's what he did. And I think he did such a good job. Because if I would have done it again, it would have just felt like a vitrine of like, hey, look at all my awards and achievements. Yay. And that's not a story. That's just like a victory lap of look at me. And I didn't want that. I wanted people to see me stumble. I wanted people to see me struggle. I wanted people to see me fight back. I want people to see me like work really hard because that's what my life has been about. And most importantly, I wanted people to see me give God the glory. God is everything. The universe is everything. And just to be clear for anybody that doesn't believe in God, you believe in the universe. There's no getting around that. And for me, the universe is my God. The universe is the beginning and the ending. And I wanted people to see me surrender to that which has given me everything that I have, including my life. So I needed people to see and feel that. And I was concerned that if I meddled in it too much and had too much to say and, you know, too much control over it, that I would like just celebrate off my achievements. And my achievements, I mean, what are my achievements? My achievements are the result of like the opportunities that were given to me by who? The universe. So that's the reason why I chose Morgan Neville. I know it was a very long-winded answer, but just here.
It's quite all right. I understand completely. Um, I think one of the other great things, we hear so much of your catalog in this, but you also wrote some wonderful original songs for this as well. And I was wondering, how did you determine what segments of the documentary should have original music as opposed to songs that had already existed in your catalog?
So I let him like direct the catalog and direct like, um, I let him direct the catalog and let him direct, the story as he saw fit. And in terms of new songs, I didn't get inspired by those until I first started seeing like the first version of it, like the animatic, just like how and what he wanted to use. Like that was it for me.
And specifically for the song Piece by Piece, which I love how that all I love songs when you hear them in a movie when they come together after this like huge process. It's one of the reasons why I love I know it's a bit off, but the song it's Hard Out Here for a Pimp from Hustle and Flow, because you
Yeah.
see how the song is built and when it all comes together, it's this wonderful, incredible moment. How did the beats and sound for the song Piece by Piece come together for you?
So piece by piece for me is just like really about like just thinking about like how everything collectively is your story. If you think about all of the crazy times that you have experienced in your life and all the fun times and all the sad times and all of the like most momentous times and all the times that you were caught off guard by things that just blindsided you, they're all piece by piece. And it's very interesting that it's sort of synonymous with like how the Lego world works.
And we were talking about this earlier before we started recording, but we're both Virginians,
Sure.
and
To that.
that's right. We both love our home. That's right, baby, VA. Whereas we have the DMV up here. Um,
Right. Yes, sir.
uh, what I and I love everything that you show about Virginia, especially like your area, the Hampton Roads, which for those outside of Virginia is the southeast area of Virginia Beach, Newport News, Hampton, and Norfolk. Um, what do you think is special about a place like Virginia that it's produced so many great artists, particularly from the Hampton Roads area?
Well, uh, if you think about the origin of the United States and where the United States started, uh, we are descendants of the captive immigrants of the country. Um, and we grew up with the residual ashes of the original sin and a lot of things that like a lot of headwinds, but we're not bitter. We're excited and you know, we're excited about the progress of where the country is and the promise of what we can do. And sure, we have suffered and will continue to suffer, but we're excited about the progress that we have made, and we're excited about the promise, and we're excited about another P, potential. And low hanging fruit is potential, but then there's also like shaking the tree. And that's what I'm so excited about. I don't care who the president is. I mean, God bless to whoever the president is at any time. It's the people that matter the most. And it's the people that unlock the actual potential of where the country can go and where the state can go. And Virginia is that. Virginia is kind of like where people watch what's going on to see where they want to go and how they want to maybe not necessarily vote, but definitely they watch us to see like how we're thinking and feeling about things in general. And then you go off and make your own decisions about things. But Virginia is definitely one of them. We were one of the first 13 original states. And, being a Virginian, like I'm very proud of where I come from. Like Virginia made me. Like there wouldn't be no film Piece by Piece without the state of Virginia. right? It made me, it made my parents, their parents, their parents, and their parents, and their parents, and their parents, and their parents. And I'm honored and I'm grateful for that. And I'll never forget that. It makes me, you know, feel compelled to give back to my state.
I love that. I
Yeah.
think that's yeah, it's so true. The what I love about this documentary also is it shows, the breadth of all the people that you've collaborated with. But I'm also kind of curious, is there anyone you haven't gotten a chance to work with that feels like, like that high hanging fruit, like, oh, if I would love to work with this artist someday. Are there any people that you have that are like that you just like, if you could get the chance to work with them, you jump at a second to do it?
Well, that's the reason why we shake the tree, Mr. Bright. You shake the tree for the fruit you can't reach. But Newton told us something. He taught us about gravity. You shake the tree. You shake the tree, the sweetest fruit will fall. All you got to do is know how to catch.
I love that it's simple, but it really is very true. Really
Yes,
is
sir.
very true.
Yes, sir.
Um, One other thing I wanted to ask you, and I know this is kind of a cliche question. I know, like, one of the cliche questions people could ask anyone is, if you're on a desert island, what three albums would you take with you? I want to make broaden that a little bit, because like, we don't take albums, we take an iPod filled with something, or a phone filled with something. I mean, who listens to an iPod anymore? Mine doesn't
Okay.
even work. Mine doesn't even work in my car anymore. But if you could take the discography of three artists to a desert island, who would they be?
This is where you fire me. And the reason why is because life is a long, beautiful life. It's a long, beautiful gift. And to be subjected to just three people's catalogs would be a misstep. It would mean that you're done learning. And I'm a student. I'm a perpetual student. So here's where you fire me.
Okay, I don't know if we'd fire you, but I understand, because you say you're a perpetual student. We don't know what the future has to hold as well.
Yes,
And,
sir.
we don't know, and for all we know, the next great thing is just beyond the horizon.
Yep. And by the way, I may hate someone's catalog, but they might have one song that changes the world. And who am I to rule that out? Like I said, I'm a perpetual student. And in order to be a student, I have to continue to be feverishly famined and famished for new music, new sounds, new directions, new thoughts.
Well, Pearl, I can't think of a better note to conclude this interview on. Thank you so much for joining us. We wish you all the best over the next couple of months. And to all of our viewers, please keep sharing, subscribing, and going to Gold Derby in advance to make your predictions in advance of all of award season that's coming up. Thanks so much, Pharrell.
Listen, yes, and all you precognition folks, please tune in to Gold Derby. And thank you so much for your time and your space. And listen, just remember that it's never too late to think about your wildest dreams, commit to them, and start building them piece by piece. It's never too late. Never, never too late. So thank you for your time and your space, and continuous blessings and favor.